big bitch.
I'm Josh.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Stacy.
And I'm Christian.
And we're
Humor, Haunts, and Homicide.
Well, hello, ladies, gents, and everything in between. We are Humor, Haunts, and Homicide, and you already know that. We are on episode 8 of our season 3 fun for all of you. We're back. It's been a little while since we've recorded. Guys, what are you obsessing about this week? I can't wait to hear about it.
I am obsessing about what we are doing at work. We are helping rescues and shelters with their dogs. We're giving them temp tests, so we're seeing if they can play in daycare. And if they can, they get to play, and we take pictures and videos and post them and hopefully find their forever homes. And we've found a home so far.
Oh, that's amazing. Christian, remind all the audience out there what you do and your passion behind it.
I work at a doggy daycare and boarding kennel. It is so much fun. And all I do at work is I walk around with dogs up to, I don't know, there's days where I have 10 or 11, and then there's days where I have 30. But then I have another person in there to help me, so it's super, super fun, and I love it.
It sounds fun, and it sounds chaotic, and it's probably a reason why it's fun.
Yes.
It's even more fun when she comes home and the babies are all sniffing her and like, where have you been all day?
They can smell everyone else, and I just investigated.
And they're like, you trifling bitch.
My gosh.
Well, that's awesome. Who else is obsessing?
I'd have to probably say I'm currently obsessing over HGTV, My Lottery Dream Home with David Bromstad. It's been on the air for a long time. It's just a show that I enjoy watching because, you know, I want to be one of those people that is on that show where I can win the lottery and buy my dream home. So, you know, it's something I've always dreamed about. So hopefully one day.
I've watched those shows too. It's hilarious. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, some of these houses are actually super beautiful.
Yeah.
Some of them are also way too huge, and I would not want to clean those.
Touche. I will say what I love about those shows is that I get inspiration. I actually found out what I liked from there. I didn't know that the things I liked had a name for it or like a characteristic category. And I went, oh shit, I guess I am like a rustic farmhouse, modern vibe kind of guy.
Modern vibe.
That's funny. I didn't know that there was a name for those either.
Yeah, there's like contemporary, traditional, rustic.
Mhm.
There's God, there's so many. There's like Italian villa style, Tahitian, Bohemian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there's so many more too. That's just a few that came flying off the top of my tongue.
Well, my current obsession is Avengers Doomsday. I'm super stoked about that. I just seen the trailer come out with Robert Downey Jr. I'm excited. I'm so stoked to see what's going to happen. I heard some characters are going to be making a comeback. I'm intrigued to see which ones make it, which ones don't. So I'm ready.
I am so fucking hyped. You know I'm going to be there screaming. Oh, it'd be amazing if we can find a way to be together watching it, because that would be, I mean, epic. But, oh man, Scarlet Witch better fucking be back. That's all I got to say, Marvel. You better figure out a way. There's a multiverse. There's enough people out there that could recast. You can do, I don't know what you got to do, but get Scarlet Witch back.
I had never seen any Avengers. Nothing. And then Stacy wanted to see Endgame. We watched 72 hours of Avengers movies.
You got her. You're like, look, if you're going to love me for me, you're going to figure out how to deal with this, because this is going to be a part of my blood.
She did it because she didn't want me asking questions during the movie.
Yes,
Ooh.
because we went to Age of Ultron or whatever before Endgame. And so we went and seen that one, and she was just like asking so many questions. And I'm like, okay, enough questions during the movies, so let me catch you up. And that's exactly what we spent doing.
Yeah, I was also kind of dragged into it because I never really watched Marvel. I mean, I would watch certain movies like The Hulk and Spider-Man and, you know, all the normal movies that you would watch. Like growing up as a kid, I had a pass to Universal, and one of the roller coasters there is the Hulk roller coaster, and it's, if anyone's never been, it's a fun roller coaster to go on. But I never really was like super into it, and now I kind of just associate it by default. They're a lot of fun to watch, and it's a lot of fun to go to like a Comic-Con where people dress up from people of Marvel. It's a lot of fun. You can do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't get too much into DC. I have been lately with, again, Gotham. And I actually am interested in now watching the first Batman and original 19 whatever up until now. So I'm interested in finding out more about the DC world. But Marvel and I go super, super way back. My very first original obsession, the character was Spider-Man, actually. The fact that he got bit by a spider and, got all these powers, I would just hope one day that I remember being outside and just being like, I hope I get bit by a spider. Like, I could have all these amazing powers.
Oh my god, can you imagine? I know your mom. And I can imagine little Stacy with a little black widow in her hand, bringing it to mom for dinner. Mom, I want powers. Do you mind? She just was screaming in Spanish, be like, oh my god, Stacy.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. But I've eventually moved on to the Hulk. I find him incredibly misunderstood, as I do King Kong. So those are my two favorite characters. But definitely Marvel fan for the rest of my life, for sure.
All right, well, thank you for sharing. Well, my obsession this week is going to be kind of a story, but more so just an explanation as to why the beach is my obsession. So I had a really bad birthday. It wasn't my best. Had a friend that I found out that I actually shared a mutual birthday with. I usually wish her a happy birthday every year, or she calls me or something of the same nature. And this year, when I went to go wish her the annual happy birthday, she passed away. So I found that out because people on her wall were saying, happy heavenly birthday, Nancy, I miss you, I love you. And come to find out, she'd actually passed away February 20th of this year. And our birthday that we share together is April 17th. So I started to, get sad and upset, and then tried to go and have a good dinner with Dylan and his parents. And then ultimately they fucked up the dinner pretty bad. His whole family got to eat their nice, hot, fresh Cheesecake Factory dinner that I ever so craved my once a year that I like to go do there. Instead, they fucked up my dinner, and then it never came back. The manager had to come out twice. She was apologetic and mortified twice. But by that time that she was mortified and apologetic, there was nothing they could do except give me some free fucking cheesecake. And they still made the meal, and they refunded it, so my in-laws didn't have to pay for any of it. Ultimately, I was just wanting something good to happen, and it didn't. To add to the mix, my in-laws' funeral was actually on my birthday as well a couple of years back in 2021. So I just have had kind of a bad birthdays. But anywho, that's really my obsession. I got to go to the beach after the awful dinner, which is really the one place on earth that centers me. It just really can me feel peace and happiness. I just kind of felt this is the one place in the world that I really can't feel anything bad right
now. My meal was fantastic, by the way. I got steak and potatoes, and it was so good. Like, I don't want to rub it in, but like, it was sad to not see him enjoy his birthday dinner, but my meal was divine.
Well, I'm glad my pain and turmoil turned into your great divine fucking dinner. That's great. I love you.
I do have to say that I also love the beach. It's just something about it. It's so peaceful.
I would agree with you. Great obsessions. Let's dive right into the story.
Alrighty, ladies. So I know this is your week for your stories, so who's going first, and what do you have in store for us today?
I'll be going first with a spooky tale, of course, continuing to stick with my Michigan theme. Imagine stepping into a place where time refuses to let go, where echoes of laughter, whispers of sorrow, and the scent of cigar smoke linger in the air, untouched by the years. Welcome to the Holly Hotel, Michigan's most haunted historic landmark, where the spirits of the past refuse to check out. For over a century, this grand Victorian building has stood as a witness to history, surviving the two devastating fires, both occurring exactly to the day and to the hour, 65 years apart. But the fire wasn't the only force that left its mark. Guests and staff alike have reported eerie encounters, phantom footsteps in empty hallways, the scent of flowery perfume drifting through the air, and the mischievous spirit of a little girl playing with a meat cleaver in the kitchen.
Meat cleaver? Okay, I'm ready.
Just for reference, it's now considered a restaurant, but in my story, I will be referring to it as its original state, which was the Holly Hotel. Some say the original owner, Mr. Hurst, still roams the halls, his presence marked by the scent of his cigars. Others claim to have seen the ghost of a woman in Victorian dress, watching silently from the shadows. Paranormal investigators have spent countless nights here, capturing chilling evidence of voices from beyond, flickering lights, and objects moving on their own. Tonight we step inside the Holly Hotel, peeling back the layers of history and mystery. Are these spirits trapped in time, or is something far more sinister at play? Turn down the lights, listen closely, and let's uncover the secrets of Michigan's most haunted hotel. A brief history on the hotel itself. Holly Hotel was previously known as Hearst Hotel. It was built in 1981 by John Hearst. The hotel was built to accommodate railroad passengers that were passing through, roughly 25 trains a day carrying railroaders, freight, and transients into the village and their saloons. Social groups used the Holly Hotel for Sunday dinner parties, and salesmen used the hotel's public rooms for meetings. The hotel itself attracted Michigan Governor Thomas E. Dewey and G. Menon Williams, as well as Crusader Carrie Nation. So because I was more interested in Carrie Nation, I did a little more research on her and ended up finding that Carrie Nation was known as a radical member of the temperance movement that opposed alcohol before the start of Prohibition. Carrie caused the hotel to gain tremendous notoriety when she and her supporters invaded the town, clubbing patrons of the hotel with their umbrellas. Carrie then began smashing whiskey bottles. Carrie was arrested and sent to jail. Governor Warner then used Carrie's incarceration as a political marketing strategy to have more people come out and visit the hotel. The present day, Holly Hotel celebrates Carrie Nation's visit each year with a special menu items and listing reduced prices on all alcoholic beverages. In 1912, the hotel was purchased by a Joseph P. Allen. In 1913, a year later, the hotel had a devastating fire that destroyed the second and third floors. Allen rebuilt modestly this time around, with a shorter tower, plainer second floor with plainer porches. When reconstruction was completed in 1913, another businessman named Henry Norton bought the hotel and renamed it Hotel Norton. Because the train passengers started to dwindle, the hotel became a local restaurant. In 1978, the hotel caught fire again. This time, a local resident named Dr. Leslie Scher purchased the hotel and had it restored back to its original build from 1991. The hotel was then reopened in 1979 as a restaurant. Since that time, people like George H.W. Bush visited in 1992. Now for the ghostly encounters. The Holly Hotel is known to be haunted. Norman Gauthier, a professor of parapsychology and world-famous Ghostbuster, visited the hotel in 1989 and declared the place loaded with spirits. The Holly Hotel has been described as the most haunted historic building in Michigan, as well as the most haunted in America. The hotel seems to be one of a few active haunted hotels where the occurrence continues over and over. The hauntings and strange things have been seen and heard from employees to guests. The ghostly residents seem to follow certain habits. Example, many people have smelled cigar smoke, the flowery scent of perfume, and a meat cleaver that is a little girl's favorite toy who has passed. The spirit of the same little girl has been seen playing in the kitchen and on the banquet room steps. The first ghost that I'm going to be talking about is the ghost of John Hearst. Although he passed away in the 1920s, Hearst is still known as the Lord of the House. His ghost is the most frequent. His spirit seems unable to pass on to the afterlife due to the Great Fire in 1913. Hearst does not like noise, nor does he appreciate any renovations that take place at the hotel/restaurant. Should you bear witness to a man wearing a frock coat and top hat, you most likely have met Mr. Hearst. He may be anywhere in the house, but has often been sighted in the lower level of the hotel, which was once a high-end barbershop. Laughter is the most common version of the manifestation of Mr. Hearst. You can hear a faint baritone laughter that echoes through the house. Hearst has also been known to speak through, though not directly to anyone specifically. The cigar smell that many have detected is the cigar smell of John Hearst. Some claim the aroma is strong and overpowering, while others have noted it's barely noticeable. Either way, if you happen to smell it, make sure to say hello to Mr. Hurst. Materialization refers to the creation of appearance of matter from unknown sources. Other materializations are encountered at the top of the stairs or in the Carrie Nation banquet room. Nora Kane, a petite, beautiful lady, is the hostess of the house. She had a love of music and could still be heard playing melodies on the old piano. Her spirit is frequently encountered and has appeared in photographs, especially at weddings that are held at the hotel. Other than John Hurst himself, Nora's most famous haunting is her perfume smell. This appears to be one of the most common hauntings in the house other than Hurst himself. Though the flowery scent of her perfume can be whiffed in any room of the house, the most common and strongest is in the curved area of the main bar where her ghost is seen most often. That is where the original entrance to the hotel used to be. Nora's ghost is described as graceful and cut off at the knees. She is also wearing a beautiful dress. The ghost in the kitchen. Behind the original swinging doors to the entrance of the kitchen, researchers have noted that the spirit of maybe one of two girls, or maybe both, who died very young. One of the girls died because of severe injury she incurred at the horse stable, which at the time was adjacent to the hotel. Or it could be Nora's deceased daughter that passed when she was between the ages of 9 and 13. Whoever the spirit of the girl is, she is described as happy and playful. The playful little ghost enjoys toying with items found in the kitchen. The items most played with is the meat cleaver. These are the same ghosts that run up and down the stairways of the hotel. A 1992 Native American man hovered in view for a few moments, then vanished. However, his ghost was never seen again. Hurst's dog, that was a rat terrier, can be heard barking and running through the halls of the hotel while brushing up on visitors' legs. The ghostly legends of the Holly Hotel remain etched in its walls, its hallways, and the memories of those who've passed. Whether these tales are fragments of truth or figments of imagination, they leave us wondering. How much of the past still lingers, unseen, yet ever present? As the Holly Hotel stands as both a historical landmark and a keeper of mysteries, one thing is certain. It will continue to spark curiosity for generations to come.
Ooh, ghost cut off at the knees and ghost perfume. I've never heard of ghost perfume hauntings. That one kind of got me because I thought I knew a lot about hauntings and shit. I learned something today.
The ghost dogs. I need to meet this little rat terrier. Can we please go? We need to go there. Didn't you say it was a restaurant now?
Yeah, actually, they do bookings for when you want to go mainly in October, to experience the paranormal and things like that. They actually hold tours and stuff. It's really cool. I was thinking about doing it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll give him a little plate. I'll sit it next to my chair. Hopefully he'll brush up against me.
I'll kick you in the kidney, dog. Don't brush up against me, ghost dog. I'll kick you in the ghost kidney.
Yeah, just like Christian said before, just don't touch me. Like, I'm fine with you being in the room if you want to hang out. If this is where you died and this is where your soul wants to stay, sure. But just don't touch me. And then her favorite toy was the meat cleaver. I have questions.
Yeah, they said that was the object that was moved around the most. So they would put it in a certain spot, but then it would be other places or hidden on the people that would make the food or whatever, so it's crazy.
You just answered my question because in my head I was thinking, well, what the fuck was going on with this meat cleaver? Was it floating? Was it sliding? Was it getting thrown across the room? Were people hurt? Was it like a death fatality caused by this flying meat cleaver? I just had a few questions, but you answer most of them. Thank you.
So that's why I found this place to be super interesting, is because none of the ghosts have been described as scary or malicious or ill intent. It's nothing negative. So that's why I would be super interested in visiting, and even during Halloween and stuff like that, and taking the tour, because like I said, it's a restaurant now, but they still offer the tours and stuff like that.
All right, great. Well, we'll make sure that we get some videos, some pictures, so everybody can look at that hotel and see what's going on.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, great job. Loved it.
I loved it too.
Yeah, it was a great story.
Thank you. All right, Mrs. Garcia, what do you have for us tonight?
I have a crazy story that is just insane, and I really hope you guys are, well, I know you guys are going to enjoy it. It was a night like any other, the hum of the city fading into silence, the shadows growing long beneath the moonlight. But for Alison Botha, this night was a turning point. A collision of unspeakable darkness and unimaginable strength. Abducted, brutalized, left for dead. Most stories would end there, but hers is the tale of a survivor who refused to let evil write her final chapter. This is not just a story of survival. This is a story of resilience, of hope, and of a woman who proved that even in the darkest moments, the human spirit can prevail. Alison Botha was born on September 22nd, 1967, in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Her parents divorced when she was 10 years old, and she spent most of her childhood living with her mother and brother. All right, get ready. Here it's going to get crazy.
Okay.
27-year-old Alison spent some time at the beach with her friends. Alison brought them back to her apartment for pizza and games. When most of the group left, she drove her last friend home, then headed back to her apartment, but she would never make it back inside. After Alison parked her car, she reached towards the passenger seat to grab her bag of clean laundry to take inside. But she suddenly felt a gust of warm air. A man with a knife opened the driver's door and said, "Move over or I'll kill you." Alison, terrified, she did as she was told. The man took control of her car and sped away. "I don't want to hurt you," he said. "I just want to use your car for an hour." The man traveled to another part of Port Elizabeth to pick up his friend. The men took her to a secluded area just outside the city. Frozen, Alison knew something horrible was about to happen to her. The men told her that they were going to have sex with her. Then they asked her if she was going to fight them. Clearly trapped and terrified for her life, Alison said no. She thought to herself, "I can get through rape. If I could just turn everything off, I could survive rape." The two men who had a history of violence against women both raped her and were soon determined to kill her as well. At first, they tried to suffocate her, but even though she lost consciousness, Alison clung to life. Frustrated, the men took their brutality to the next level. They stabbed her at least 30 times in the abdomen. Alison later recalled that one of the men specifically wanted to mutilate her reproductive organs, but somehow the attackers missed those specific parts of her body.
Like, who the fuck specifically goes to this innocent stranger and just says, "I'm going to specifically attack the one thing that means probably more than you can even possibly imagine" to this person?
Right. Just horrible, horrible, horrible human beings. When Alison's leg twitched, the men decided the job wasn't quite done yet. They then slit her throat 16 times. "All I could see was an arm moving above my face," Alison later recalled, "left and right, and left and right. His movements were making a sound, a wet sound. It was the sound of my flesh being slashed open. He was cutting my throat with a knife, again and again and again." Alison's mind struggled to make sense of what was happening to her. It felt so unreal, but it wasn't, she said. "I felt no pain, but it was not a dream. This was happening. The man was slashing my throat."
Just to clarify, in the beginning of the story, I thought I heard you say that she survived the story.
Yes, she does.
Whew. Okay, I find that like honestly a miracle that that's even possible after everything you told me just now.
It's incredible. Just incredible is the word. As the men finally stepped back, Alison heard them admiring their work. "Do you think she's dead?" one of the attackers asked. "No one can survive that," the other replied. After satisfied that they had killed her, the men had driven away. But little did they know that Alison was still breathing. Lying alone on top of sand and broken glass, Alison knew, "I had to at least leave a clue about who did this to me." She decided to write the names of her attackers in the dirt, and beneath that she wrote, "I love Mom." But soon, Alison realized she might have a chance to survive. In the distance, she could see headlights streaking through the the bushes. If she could just manage to get onto the road, someone might be able to help her. When Alison moved toward the headlights, she realized the full extent of her injuries. As she pulled herself up, her head started to fall backward, since she had nearly been decapitated.
Oh my fucking god.
Meanwhile, she could also feel something slimy protruding from her abdomen, her intestines. She had to use one hand to keep her organs from spilling out, and the other hand to literally hold her own head up. Alison recalled, as I struggled forward, my sight faded in and out, and I fell many times, but managed to get up again until I finally reached the road. There she collapsed along the white line. Even in her disoriented state, she knew that this was the best position to attract the attention of a motorist. Fortunately, Alison didn't have to wait for long. A young veterinary student named Tian Ellard, who was visiting Port Elizabeth on vacation, saw Alison lying in the middle of the road and stopped. God put me on that road that night for a reason, Tian said. He used his veterinary training to tuck Alison's exposed thyroid back inside her body, then called emergency services for help. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors were stunned by her horrific wounds. One of the doctors later said that he had never seen such severe injuries in his 16 years of practicing medicine. Alison was on the brink of death, but she managed to pull through, and she also remembered everything about her attackers. She was soon able to identify them from police pictures while she was still in the hospital. This led to the speedy arrest of the Ripper Rapists, as they were called in the press. Both men pled guilty to 8 charges, which included kidnapping, rape, and attempted murder. They were both found guilty and sentenced to life in prison in August 1995. But after serving 28 years, both were granted parole in July 2023 and placed under supervision.
Shut the fuck up. No. No, absolutely fucking not. You're not telling me this right now.
Yep. On Alison's Facebook page, she wrote, "The day I hoped and prayed would never come. When I was asked, how will you feel if they ever get parole? My immediate answer was always, I'm hoping I'll never find out." But even though the worst was behind her, Alison still suffered from both physical and emotional scars from the attack. In order to recover, she decided that she needed to face what had happened to her. Alison Botha soon began traveling around the world, telling her story in at least 35 countries. One of the first women from South Africa to speak publicly about rape. In both her home country and abroad, she helped inspire other survivors to come forward and tell their stories as well. In 1995, Alison won the prestigious Rhetorian Paul Harris Award for Courage Beyond the Norm and Femina Magazine's Woman of Courage Award. She was also honored as Port Elizabeth's Citizen of the Year. Since then, Botha has written 2 books. In 2016, her survival story was brought to life in the movie Alison, which you can watch on Amazon Prime. Today, she is still considered one of the most inspiring motivational speakers in the world. But for Alison, perhaps the greatest gift of all was the birth of her 2 sons. During her attack, one of the men specifically tried to destroy her reproductive organs. That was his intention, Alison said, after the birth of her first child in 2003. Today, her story stands as both an example of human evils and the strength of the human spirit. Life can sometimes make us feel like the victim, Alison once said. Problems and hardships and traumas are dished out to all of us, and sometimes they can be divided very unfairly. Remind yourself that you do not have to take responsibility for what others do. Life is not a collection of what happens to you, but of how you've responded to what has happened to you. Now, I was super pissed when the Ripper Rapists were granted parole. I had to dig a little bit deeper because how? There should be no fucking way that these guys were going to get out of prison. And what I found, you won't be disappointed. The Minister of Correctional Services has canceled parole for the convicted attackers of Alison Botha. The decision was made with the Correctional Service Act, which empowers the minister to cancel parole for individuals sentenced to life imprisonment. The minister's primary consideration is the imperative of protecting and securing the community, particularly in instances where acts of violence against women and children have been committed. Both individuals have been reincarcerated and will remain in custody. Alison's story is a stark reminder of the darkness that exists, but also the incredible light that can rise in its aftermath. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.
Great story, Christian. And just to live through that kind of attack and to be able to tell your story, because not everyone has a story to tell once they've gone through something like that, because a lot of people don't live through that. I mean, she went through something very traumatic, come out on top and have children and still, move on with life. It just shows what kind of person she is.
Yep. She literally defied all odds.
And that right there is just a true definition of a victim mindset versus not. I hate the terminology survivor. I prefer the terminology fighter or warrior, mentality. I think that that was just such a horrific story. I mean, I don't know if you guys could tell, but I was even tearing up during the story. It was so intense, and I just couldn't imagine, thank you, Jesus, that I have not had to imagine that, of having to, go through something that horrifically on that level. It was already bad enough, let alone adding in decapitation and her guts and everything, and that's so horrific.
When I was writing this, the part where she was writing the attackers' names and then under she wrote, "I love Mom." Oh my gosh, that broke my heart, and I got teary at that when I was writing this. Just so sad.
Yeah, that's what got me too. I mean, obviously everything got me, but that piece right there, that she was at her last moment able to try to get out that message of who hurt me and who can I tell how I feel. And
yes.
Oh yeah. And the fact that she still had more to tell because she got to survive it and to live it and to fight through it and to have that warriorship through it. I think the whole thing is amazing, unfortunate and terrifying and terrible all at the same time. But
Absolutely.
She came out on top and she got to say, fuck you. You're not going to be able to take from me what you wanted. In fact, I'm going to get exactly what I wanted from life because it's mine and not yours.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
So the sources for my story of the Holly Hotel include the Historic Holly Hotel, their website, the Fox 2 News Detroit on their news coverage, and the rest will be posted in the show notes.
And mine is allthat'sinteresting.com, dailymaverick.co, and I also have a couple extra ones for the movie and Alison's Facebook page if you want to check those out.
Oh my god, this episode was completely riveting, suspenseful, insane. Man, you guys did a great job of summing up 2 fantastic fucking stories.
Thank
you.
Yeah, your stories were phenomenal. I mean, for what everyone has gone through and just the sadness and the happiness from Christian's story, at the end, it's, great stories.
Oh, and just one more thing. Mysteries never sleep.
And neither do we.
Bye, bitches.
Humor, haunts, and homicide.